Hello and welcome back to the Jewish-Anglican. One moment. Hello? Welcome. Sure. Hello. Sorry, there was a bit of a mix-up there, so we'll return back to regularly scheduled programming soon. Welcome back. This is my first live stream. Actually, I need to set up more stuff. I haven't done this before. Please chat. Any questions? I'll be open for it. Just gotta do a few things. Get the live stream. Hello. Anyone out there? Comment down in the chat. Oh, hi Baldwin. How you doing? Do you have any questions? Also, is the microphone working? Just want to check that. Hello. Is my microphone working? Just want to check that. Hello? Hello? Thanks, y'all. Anyway, so this is the first live stream ever, and I want to know. Oh, yes, Baldwin. Thank you. I am doing good. Got some school done today, but I want to know if any of you have any questions at all about Anglosphere, religion, politics, any of my beliefs, or anything about the channel. Go and drop them in the chat. Nice one, mint chocolate chip scream enjoyer. Interesting name, but I enjoy the comment. Any questions? And drop them down below. Any questions at all? Any questions? What would it take for me to become Catholic? That's a good question, actually. I think probably Christ himself. I think really most denomination. I think especially of the older churches like Catholicism or Orthodoxy, it would be Christ himself. I actually take that back slightly. It would have to be, I think it would be Orthodoxy, Catholicism, or non-denominationalism. Christ himself would have to say that to me. One of those three, and Christ himself would have to say it to me, I'd say. Hi, John Morrison. So hopefully that answers your question. It's a good question, though. Another one is that if all Protestants become degenerate is also probably a good one answer. But I don't see that happening for a while. Kind of a Q and A, yeah, yeah. Also kind of just a ramble. Because a lot has happened in the past week, like the Archbishop of Canterbury. I'm sure you guys seen my video on it. I talked at what they've done, and plus, all the African churches are really mad at the Archbishop of Canterbury. So there's a good chance that the African churches might leave the Anglican Communion. And then, what was up with the Pope blessing a block of ice? I know some people were kind of upset at that. I didn't think it was that strange, but I mean, who knows? Maybe some people have more problems. Thoughts on pan-Europeanism? Okay, I'm actually kind of in favor of pan-Europeanism because, from an American point of view, if most of Europe, with the exception of the UK, all unite, then they would be forced to focus on this and not mooch off of America. So Europe should unite as long as the UK isn't involved. Oh, hello, American Victory. Also, if any of you aren't already, you guys should join the Discord. It's an Anglosphere Union server. We talk about the Anglosphere and other related politics, which reminds me of the story of the Beaver King. American Victory says thoughts on anarcho distributism and its founding theorists Dorothy Day and Peter Morin. I know about distributism because distributism is a form of Catholic social and economic thinking, and I actually have right up here the Distributism Manifesto. I still have to read that, but uh, I am starting to warm up to the ideas of distributism, but I'm usually kind of anti-anarchy. I think anarchism is a bit dangerous, honestly. But I am an embracer of distributism to an extent. I think distributism and corporatism can work really hand in hand together. So thanks for the question, American Victory. Appreciate it. Haven't heard about the theorists. We'll dive in later, probably. American Victory says, I think it could work in intentional communities like the Republic of Kos Kospea? Republic of Kospea. I don't know what the Republic of Kospea is, but Republic of the Republic of Kospea was a independent little community within Italy. Interesting. Italy is a fascinating place. I am very interested by the Republic of Kospia now. That's very interesting. Never even heard of this place. Makes sense. I gotta say, internal and steadfast freedom is a banger of a motto. Pope Eugene the Sixth, who was embroiled in a struggle with the Council of Basel, made a sale of territory to the Republic of Florence by error. A small strip of land went unmentioned in the sale treaty, and inhabitants declared themselves independents. Sounds about right. This is actually pretty interesting. It didn't become part of Italy until 1826. Wow. Oh, hi, Otto. By the way, everyone, check out Otto's YouTube channel if you haven't already. Great guy. Great channel. Would recommend. Otto, do you have any questions? What are my current thoughts on the state of Britain and its monarch? Well, Britain is in an interesting position already because we recently had oops, that's my dogs. We recently had the Unite the Kingdom rally, which was a very big deal in honor of Charlie Kirk's death and of Charlie Kirk's life. He just one moment, guys. Sorry, my dogs are freaking out. I'll be right back. One moment. All done. All done. All done. Sorry, gentlemen. Let me. Sorry, my dogs were barking, so let me get to the current my thoughts on Britain and its monarch. Well, recently the Unite the Kingdom rallies happened after Charlie Kirk's death, and that was a very big deal. And there is hope for Britain as a nation and as a people. Now, the monarch is a bit difficult because Charles is not a popular guy. Now, I do have a bit of hope for William because William does seem to be a little. There's a weird disconnect between William and Charles, and I can't pinpoint what or what drift is happening, but I can just feel it. So I think there is potential for a lot of chaos to happen, but a lot of return of order. So I think it's very 50-50 right now. Plus, with the Archbishop of Canterbury, there's a lot of struggle right now. American Victory asked thoughts on Lord Leamington and neo feudalism. I do not know who that is. Let me look him up. Uh, I'm a little skeptical about neo feudalism. Like neo feudalism isn't bad in on itself. I mean, like I understand the ideas. Like feudalism is better than a lot of you know other other economics like uh communism. So I mean, feudalism has its upsides. Um. Oh, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. I don't know if you guys can see the Wikipedia page, but yeah, not a fan of white supremacy. I'm a Jew, so yeah, not a fan of that. Neo-feudalism in itself is a little I don't know, like I see the potential behind it. I think you could take aspects of feudalism and make it work, along with corporatism, distributism, and capitalism. I think if you mix all those three together, you can have something unique. I actually have a question for all of you in the chat. What's your thoughts about Oswald Mosley? Oh, John Morrison asked another question. Is the Anglosphere becoming more or less relevant? That's a bit difficult one. Um, the Anglosphere is becoming, in some ways, more relevant because Trump had the banquet with King Charles, and gotta say that was very powerful. To see Trump and the king acknowledge that there is a shared community between the Anglosphere. And then recently Nigel Farage was at Hillsdale, which I've taken some of their classes, and during Constitution Day, and Farage says that the English speaking world has a shared history and culture. So in some ways, I do think politically the Anglosphere is starting to become disconnected, but there are starting to be a little more of a cultural unity. And I would recommend Hillsdale's video with Nigel Farage. It is great. Watch his speech. So I think in some ways the Anglosphere might become a little more culturally relevant. Maybe not politically, but culturally. Um, Otto asked, "What form of communism is the least dysfunctional in your opinion?" I haven't, done a whole lot of research on the different forms of communism, but like syndicalism, from my limited understanding, does make a lot of sense because at least they're trying to do what communists actually want and have people who like labor run the run the country, and it seems like syndicalism is the closest to that. So I guess syndicalism seems like the least dysfunctional one. Um, and plus, syndicalism has branched off into a lot of other ideologies like Italian and British fascism. So I guess syndicalism is most open to change and least dysfunctional, if that makes sense. So I guess that's my answer. Syndicalism is the least dysfunctional one. Good question, Otto. Also, good question for John Morrison about the Anglosphere. I think in some ways it is becoming a little more culturally relevant. But how do you fellas feel about Oswald Mosley? Because he's an odd duck. The more I research about him, the more I'm confused by him. Anyone? Any questions? American Virtue says I haven't read much about him besides like what I know from A.K. Chesterton's role in the BUF. John Morrison said Mosley was a British fascist who was pro-monarchy, anti-parliament, and anti-democracy. His economic philosophy was syndicalism, and he wanted to save the British Empire. Baldwin said complicated thoughts on Mosley, but I agree with Europe, a nation. I have not read anything of Mosley, but I've heard and read different things about him. Oh, hi, Giamaria. Um, okay, my opinion on Mosley is that he's definitely the least bad of the fascists. Like, I'm pretty sure he said he was fine with the Jewish people as long as they were loyal to the empire, which isn't that bad. I think he was more of the tame one. He's definitely a lot more left wing in his economics compared to Mussolini. So Mosley is a very mixed bag. Would anyone recommend any books on Mosley? Oh, I also see John Morrison says, I know Mosley from Tick History videos and Peaky Blinders. I like Tick History. I haven't seen Peaky Blinders, but I love the aesthetic of Peaky Blinders. But with Tick History, I'm always confused by him because, like, he says really smart things and then he gets into these libertarian individualism stuff. Otto said, do you think that the English had developed independently of other Germanics to be considered a civilization of their own? That's a tricky one because I mean, like, even the Germans are very different from the Scandinavians. And the Scandinavians are different from the Germans and the English. I mean, like, in some ways, yeah. Plus, the English are so influenced by the Celtics. That's where the term British comes from. So I think in some ways, uh, English is a English is Germanic, but British is the evolution of the Germanic and the Celtic people together. That's my answer. Daniel D said thoughts on Blessed Pope Pius the 11th. No, sorry, the ninth. I haven't really read much up on him. I'll look him up real quick. Oh yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah, he's very popular. He was the one that defined papal infallibility, which I'm not a fan of. So not the biggest fan of the guy, but can't deny he's influential as anyone could be. Oh, okay. Baldwin is talking about the blessed Kaiser Karl. He was the last Kaiser of Austria-Hungary. He tried to make a separate peace with the Entente, and it never officially abdicated. Honestly, sounds like a decent guy. Um, I gotta say, people give Germany and Austria during the World War One a bad rap, but I mean, like, the Kaisers weren't that bad. I do have respect for the Kaisers. Look up. I don't know if you guys can, or Charles the First of Austria. Yeah, that looks like a German guy to me. Interesting. John Morrison says Tech History has been struggling with burnout and hasn't uploaded a video in 6 months. Well, I pray that Tech History figures out what he wants to do more with his channel. Otto says he died too young, honestly. Yeah, he did. Rest in peace to Kaiser Karl. I think I might have heard of him before. I can't recall. American Victory asked, which political party would you say you'd most likely to join? Ooh, gonna okay. Thank you for the book recommendation, Baldwin. American Victory has asked, which party would you most likely to join? If we're assuming American politics, I think well, it depends on how you want to play at this because I think realistically, American Solidarity Party is where most of my beliefs are, you know, inclined with. They're very similar to the ASP. However, I think it'd be funny if I signed up for the Democratic Party, not because I agree with them, but I think in some ways they'd be really easy to hijack and influence. But in all seriousness, the American Solidarity Party. Daniel D asked, "Have you made a video on the Anglican liturgy yet, or maybe like its liturgical evolution?" I've taught about the Anglican Church a bit here and there. Uh, I would be I'll consider that. I'd also consider working on the um maybe just the evolution of the Anglican view of the Eucharist, but I'll add that to my list. Otto asks thoughts on Engelbert Dolphus. I've never really heard of him, but I'll look him up real quick. Looking him up. Oh, and of course, the only Wikipedia page is in German. Wasn't he was an Austrian politician of agriculture, ruling dictatorially from March 5th, 1933. Founded the Austro-Fascist corporate state. Okay. Interesting. I am not a big fan of fascism. I think, I think economically they take corporatism and go way too far with it. But it seems like he was against Nazism, so that is better. But like having a fascist against Nazism sounds good. I'm also technically a minor, so I should probably join the Youth Wing Discord server at the moment as well. I'll see you there, American Victory. I see Otto's last night says Chancellor of Austria during the 30s, corporatist, deeply Catholic, hated Hitler and the Nazis. Yeah, I read that too just now. Gotta say, even though it does describe him as a fascist, and I myself am not a fan of fascism, I am glad there are some fascists who hated the Nazis and Hitler. So good on for him. We'll definitely read more. Um, have you heard about like France recently? Oh, was the best day and worst day in the USA? Asked American Victory. Okay, this is interesting because like it depends on what you mean. In terms of like geography, Washington State, the state I live in now, is the best single handedly. But due to the really sucky weather and really the sucky politics of Washington State, it is terrible. Uh, but again, I would not want to live in Utah because, like, politically, they're Utahns. They're not Republicans or Democrats. They're Utahns. So I don't know what is the best and worst state. Maryland is funny because I was watching a podcast called Creepcast and they're reading a story and the guy says Baltimore's gone to the dogs. Also, the best non-Western civilization is either Japan or Singapore, I'd say. The best day that's what I'd say. Hey, the best non-Western civilization is Japan. Maybe for Vermont. I don't know. I mean, like New England and the Pacific Northwest region are very similar for the fact that both very green and very English. However, one's more individualistic and the other is more communicative. I'm sorry for your friend Daniel D. Definitely pray for him. Oh, I also want to show you guys this. This is a necklace I got during a play called Narnia the Musical, and I found this in my bag, so I've been wearing it like a religious symbol. Anyways, do you think Trianon was justified? I don't know what Trianon is, Otto, but I'll look it up. All right, the very one-sided. That's tricky because like the Austrian-Hungarian Empire was like very large, so in some ways it made sense to cut up Austria and Hungary, but I think they could have done it in a less harsh way. Um, Yeah. Has anyone heard about France's government just absolutely not working? Like their last prime minister resigned in 27 days. That's quicker than Liz Truss. What is going on in France? Also, what's your guys' thoughts about my new lighting setup? Because as you can see, I have a new lighting setup. I mean, the French government needs some type of overhaul. They either need like proportional representation or just get rid of the second round system because they need help. They like their government needs help. Plus, Macron is not a good president, from what I've heard. I've heard that he's kind of popular on like the international stage. Uh, okay, so to Baldwin's question, who are the best and worst place in the Balkans? I'm gonna go with Greece is the best place because it's just Greece. I have a lot of love for Greece. My mother lived there for many years, so I have a warmth and heart for Greece. And plus, probably the best part of Western civilization. At least it was in the beginning, in some ways. The worst place in the Balkans? I don't know, man. Kosovo sounds like it would be hell to live in. Like everyone kind of wants it dead. John Morrison says, however, there were different views on it since Mussolini had an anti-Semitic spiritual view, Mosley had a nationalist one. Correct. Uh, Mussolini thought, Jews on a spiritual level were contradictory to fascism, and Mosley was far more nationalistic. He was like, hey, if you're loyal to the empire, that matters. Which some people might argue that's not anti-Semitic. American Victory said Kosovo is the best in Balkans. Okay, like I mean, like depends on your definition of best. Like best to live in or the best people. Um, because I think in terms of people, I think that might have to go to Albania of all places. Like I'm pretty sure like Albania just wants everyone dead to some degree. Yeah. So I'm thinking about like reading. Has the Bill Clinton statue and Bill Clinton at what? What? Bill Clinton statue in Kosovo? It's real. Oh, I don't like that hand gesture. Like from some of the sides that I, Bill Clinton is really funny because I know in like the former Yugoslavia area, people just hate Bill Clinton. That's interesting. Search up "Thank You USA." Okay, I'm looking. I don't know if you guys can hear. What is this? What the I'm watching this. What is this thing? Can you guys see this, or is my computer not allowing it? This is wild. Oh my god. What the f This is wild. Okay, wild. I gotta say that was wild. Um, hmm. So what's the likelihood of all the African churches leaving the Anglican Communion? Any takes on that? Do you think all the African churches are gonna leave the Anglican Communion? Anyone? Yeah, yeah, it is pretty high, Daniel D. I mean, like, they do not like the new Archbishop of Canterbury. Like, I pray that lady repents. You've seen my video. There's a good chance that the Anglican Communion might just collapse. Well, no, you don't have a say, but I mean, like, still, this is a major world decision. They already left the Anglican Church in name only. Not sure what you mean by that, John Morrison. But yeah, it's probably not gonna look the best for them. I mean, like, I'm not sure what England needs to do to fix their problems in their church. Um, I think I'm gonna talk about my plans for my future videos on Friday. I think I'm gonna try to release a video on. Wait, Daniel D said something about the serum rite. What is the serum rite? Fear this would be a very defensive century for us Protestants. I agree with you, Otto. I think Redeemed Zimmer has done a lot of good and some bad for most of Protestantism, but mostly good. Um, but I want to know what you mean by the serum rite, Daniel D. I'm gonna look that up. Serum rite. Ha. Interesting. Anglo Catholic Anglican liturgy sounds about right. Yeah, I think Protestants will have the defense. Oh, I was at church study back on Wednesday night, and my priest, Father David, pretty much argued Anglicans are not Protestant by definition. Wait, what? American Picture said I started watching Redeemed Zimmer when he made his conspiracy theories are unbiblical video. I don't think I've seen that video. I think my first video I've ever seen was when he was talking about the different denominations. That helped a lot. Thoughts on the Loyal Orange Order? I'm assuming that's either Trump or Dutch people, but I'm assuming that's going to go with more Dutch. Oh, it's a form of conservatism in the UK and Northern Ireland. Sounds about right. Uh, I understand it. I understand it. That makes sense. So I think on Friday I'm gonna make a video on Sukkot. Yes, it is British Protestant organization, but on Friday I'm planning on making a video on Sukkot, which is a Jewish holiday, because I find it really interesting, and I think it's good to just like know the historical backgrounds and such. So plan that on Friday. On Wednesday, my Anglo politics will release on YouTube, since my Anglo politics already released on Rumble. Daria Mary has a good video on the serum right. We'll look into it. That's a big cat. Good to know. I mean, I gotta say, one thing I absolutely do not like Yes, I have heard of the apparitions of Our Lady in China. Not surprised by that. Morrison keeps talking about the Catholic contradictions video from Redeemed Zimmer. Yeah, he has been a little spicier towards Catholics, I admit. I mean, he's still definitely better than other Protestants, but ultimately, he's not that bad towards Catholics compared to others. Ultimately, how do you fellas feel about AI? Because AI is a problem. You've been looking into sedevacantism. Well, in some ways, I feel like I'm a sedevacantist regarding the Archbishop of Canterbury right now. So I kind of you're the Catholic kind, I might be the Anglican kind. So understandable. Anyone's thoughts about AI? Because that's a big problem right now. Actually, guys, can you hold on? All done. Gen Z Catholic debunked said a bank. I heard. Okay. So yeah, AI. By the way, guys, if you guys do not like AI, write your local congressman. AI is very dangerous. We really need to stop some of that. Especially like you should not be able to monetize based off AI content. Yes, American victory. I 100% agree. AI is a kind of a deconstruction of the human spirit. I agree. Art was our last emulation of God. Art is an expression of our devotion to God. If you don't use that properly, that's very dangerous. I agree with John Morrison. He has a point. Yeah, I mean, still, I think AI art is very dangerous, Baldwin, but I understand your point as well. I think I'm going to end the stream there because this has been very useful, and I hope you guys enjoy, and God bless.